So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you all for being here today. We've had a quick tour. We got to know the site, to understand exactly what to expect in the coming days, but I'm sure you still have a lot of questions. So let us start without further ado, welcoming the Special Representative for the UN for International Migration and the Secretary General of the conference, Ms. Lewis Arbor.
Thank you. Is this on?
Yes.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good evening. I'm happy to hear that you've had a tour of the facilities. I hope this gives you a sense of the magnitude of the event in which we're about to embark. So let me start my remark by thanking the Kingdom of Morocco for very generously hosting this intergovernmental conference for the adoption of the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration. I think as you've seen visiting the facilities, I think it's fair to say that the government of Morocco has done a fantastic job preparing for this event. We are on the eve of a truly remarkable moment in the pursuit of the better management of international migration, a singular issue of our time. And for multilateralism, our collective ability to cooperate around global issues in a respectful, consensual manner, sensitive to national and regional specificities. The conference is the culmination of a transparent, intensive 18 months process leading up to a negotiated agreement on the text for the Global Compact. This was last July, and this is to be formally adopted tomorrow morning. Over 150 states have registered to attend this conference, and they are joined by some approximately 400 partners from the UN system, from civil society, from the private sector, and the academic world. And a press corps, well represented here, of well over 700. The Global Compact for Migration was developed as an initiative of member states as governments felt compelled to respond to the increasingly clear need to ensure that global migration is better managed. And this emerged from the intolerable sight of large numbers of migrants losing their lives and from the growing perceptions that governments had lost control of their borders. This is what led to the 2016 New York Declaration, which called for the process leading to the adoption of two compacts, the Global Compact for Refugees and this one, the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration. This compact is not a compact for migration. It's a compact for safe, orderly, and regular migration. The compact's essential strength is that it is cooperative, not binding. As a document, it is not a legally binding document, but it has at its core a willingness for member states to cooperate with each other. It's a reaffirmation of collective commitments to national sovereignty and to universal human rights in the pursuit of an approach to international migration that will benefit all. It covers all aspects of migration, from the need to reduce the drivers of irregular migration, to the protection of migrants in transit and in destination countries, and to the need for safe and sustainable return procedures, drawing from best practices that states may choose to utilize to implement their own national migration policies. It is global in outlook. It acknowledges that each state experiences migration differently, and it reinforces each state's prerogative to manage its own migration policies as it sees fit. So let me just address two issues up front. The first one, I think, is a question that often arises: will this compact actually make any difference in people's lives? As I said before, the compact was a state initiative. Therefore, its implementation will also rest primarily with states, particularly in matters that require national action. The United Nations, the private sector, civil society, labor unions will all have an important role to play, of course, on many issues, but any implementation initiative will be at the discretion of member states setting out nationally their own priorities. Many challenges will stand in the way of implementation, not least the toxic, ill-informed narrative that too often persists when it comes to migrants. But for those willing to take on the challenges and harvest the benefits of human mobility, the Compact will provide very useful guidance for workable initiatives and solutions. Through a combination of practical approaches and aspirational goals, the Global Compact provides a reference point for action now and into the future. As you know, having looked, I'm sure, at the text of the Compact, some of the objectives have a short-term horizon. Others require a much, much longer-term investments. Some actions can be taken nationally. Others will be better taken on a sub-regional, regional, and global basis. Second, a few states have indicated that they will not adopt the Compact. A smaller number have said that their final decision must await further internal deliberations. It is regrettable whenever any state withdraws from a multilateral process on a global issue, the outcome of which has generated overwhelming support. It's particularly regrettable when a state pulls out from a negotiated agreement in which it actually actively participated a very short time before. Finally, it is surprising that there has been so much misinformation about what the Compact is and what the text actually says. It creates no right to migrate. It places no imposition on states. It does not constitute so-called soft law. It is not legally binding. It expressly permits states to distinguish as they see fit between regular and irregular migrants in accordance with existing international law. This is not my interpretation of the text. This is the text. It is my belief that this compact will stand the test of time, that through its effective implementation, it will come to be universally recognized as a framework by which states can better manage migration, not so as to threaten their national sovereign interest, but quite the contrary, to best secure their mutual interest through cooperation rather than confrontation, and significantly to enhance the well-being of people all over the world, migrants and host communities alike. Thank you for your attention. I'd be very happy to take your questions.